You know that feeling, right? That powerful, overwhelming urge to avoid studying. We almost always call it laziness, but what if it's something else entirely? Let's get into what's really going on inside your brain when that feeling hits.
Okay, picture this. You've got the best intentions. Your desk is clear, the books are open, you are ready to be productive. You sit down, and then bam! All of a sudden, you absolutely have to check your phone. Or maybe organize your bookshelf by color. Or you know what? Just staring at the ceiling feels way more important than the actual task at hand. And that's exactly when that nasty little voice in your head kicks in, right? The one that says, ugh, I'm so unmotivated, I'm just lazy. It's such a heavy feeling, and honestly, it just makes everything worse.
But what if that voice is totally wrong? Let's look at this in a completely new way. Because this whole cycle of avoiding things and then feeling ashamed about it, it's not a character flaw. It's just a simple misunderstanding of how your brain is wired.
So here's the big mindset shift. The myth is that you're lazy. The truth, your brain is actually, literally, trying to protect you. This isn't a failure of your willpower, it's your brain's ancient survival instinct, just doing its job perfectly.
Just let that sink in for a second. Your brain isn't broken. It's not malfunctioning. It is running its original programming flawlessly. The only problem is that programming was designed for, surviving in the wild, not for cramming for a chemistry final.
So what is this protection system anyway? Well, your brain's #1 job above all else is to keep you safe by helping you avoid anything it thinks is a threat. And a threat isn't just like a saber-toothed tiger. The first threat is just discomfort. Simple as that. Studying can feel boring or frustrating, or it can create this feeling of pressure. And your brain registers all of that as a negative state that it wants to get away from fast.
The second threat is uncertainty. I mean, when you start a huge project, you have no idea if you'll understand it all, how long it's going to take, or if all that effort will even pay off. Your brain absolutely hates that ambiguity and flags it as a potential risk. And the final threat? Well, it's just plain old effort. Your brain evolved to conserve energy whenever possible. Thinking hard actually burns a ton of calories, so when it's faced with a mentally demanding task, its default setting is to steer you towards something, well, easier.
So you can think of your brain as having these 3 modes always running in the background. It's a discomfort detector, it's got an energy-saving mode, and it's a protection system. And wouldn't you know it, studying triggers all 3 at once. And all of this leads us to something called the automatic avoidance loop. It's a process that happens in a split second, way before you even get a chance to flex your willpower muscle.
And this whole thing happens incredibly fast. First, there's the cue. You just think about studying. Second, your brain instantly predicts discomfort and stress. Third, it sends out a signal, that feeling of resistance. And finally, the response. Your brain nudges you toward the nearest, easiest distraction, like your phone.
This is exactly why the just do it advice can be so terrible. When you try to force yourself to do something, you're just piling on more pressure and more discomfort. Your brain sees that as an even bigger threat and doubles down on its resistance. The more you fight, the stronger that urge to escape becomes.
So if fighting your brain doesn't work, then what does? The answer is to stop fighting it and start working with its operating system. And that requires a completely different strategy.
Here's the new game plan. Instead of trying to overpower that feeling of resistance, you make the task so small and non-threatening that the alarm signal barely even goes off. You're trying to fly under your brain's threat detection radar. So here it is. 1 simple, practical action. Don't tell yourself you're going to study for an hour or even finish a chapter. Just commit to 5 minutes. That's it. 5 minutes, no more. I mean, come on, anyone can do something for 5 minutes. And the reason this little trick works so well is that a 5-minute task is just too small to set off those alarm bells. It requires minimal effort, there's very little uncertainty, your brain basically looks at it, says, not a threat, and that feeling of resistance just melts away. And you know what? Once you start, momentum often takes care of the rest. As we wrap up here, I really want you to remember this. Procrastinating does not mean you don't care about your goals. In fact, a lot of the time, we avoid things because we care so much, and the pressure just feels like too much. It's actually a sign of care, not apathy. And struggling with this doesn't mean you're weak or that you're broken. It just means you have a perfectly normal human brain that's doing its primary job, trying to keep you safe from discomfort.
So the real key to changing this pattern isn't more discipline or beating yourself up. It's self-awareness. Once you understand the why behind your own avoidance, you can finally start working with your brain instead of constantly fighting against it.
So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. We're all taught to just push through, to rely on willpower. But what if a little bit of self-compassion and understanding could actually get you a whole lot further?
Hopefully, this helped you understand yourself just a little bit better today. Explaining how your mind works calmly and without any pressure, well, that's what we're all about. Thanks for being here with us.